Hello everybody. This is a quick shot of the end of the notes from the 28th. Your crazy science teacher was talking too much, and so 5th and 6th hours they might have missed this last little piece of the setup, because we're going to do the murder investigation in particular. If you like CSI types of shows, you're going to like today. Okay, so these are the notes for 10/29/2020. Tell yourself, Otzi murder investigation. I'm going to put my standard email thingy up there, and then a warning. Warning, some scenes in this video are disturbing. All right, here we go. I'm gonna hit play. I wish we could watch the whole thing, but we just don't have the time.
Stone Age killing, revealed after 5,000 years. Now the investigation begins. Scientists are reopening a case that is millennia old, uncovering some startling new evidence of prehistoric violence, new wounds, forensic analysis, and blood on the weapons that told the tale of a killer, a tale of mortal combat. What can the crime scene, the murder weapon, and forensic evidence within the body tell us about this deed? After all this time, 50 centuries later, the case of the Iceman is just beginning.
All right, this video is not made by Nova. It's different people, so you're going to see entirely different stuff. The main character here, this guy in the red, is a medical examiner, someone who solves crimes, okay? Looks at dead bodies every day for his living. Here they are up at the scene where the body was found, okay? Here now, now they're going to really show you how not careful the people that found Otzi were. Now, they never told you this in the other videos. They couldn't get the body out of the ice because there was something in his hand.
Is anchored in the ice. The right hand pinned in the frozen water.
Look how.
And once the hand comes out, there is something else in the hole. The knife. At first, no one realized what it was.
He throws it away. Watch, he throws it away.
They tossed it aside. But now, in the context of a murder investigation, it takes on new importance. A man with a knife is not just a target. Did Otzi fight back?
All right, I hit pause. Why would a guy dying in a blizzard, he didn't die in a blizzard, why would a guy dying in a blizzard have a knife clenched in his hand? That doesn't sound like a peaceful death, okay? Now, that's a big clue.
The story of the Iceman is different than anyone suspected.
I'm going to fast forward, okay? So this medical examiner thinks this seems fishy, and he decides to do some more checking. Now, warning, you're going to see some fairly gross stuff.
Agatha goes directly for the right hand, the knife hand.
The hand that had the knife in it. There's something nobody else noticed.
As if clenching something that eluded them years ago. A replica of the knife still fits.
He just noticed something.
But almost immediately, Agatha stumbles on something else. A wound. A wound no one ever noticed before. Agatha can't believe it. He goes in for a closer look.
It's a big, nasty cut.
It's the first time it's been spotted. This isn't just a little slice. This is a deep cut, a slash to the flesh. Perhaps the fingers are simply curled in pain. X-rays examine the depth of the wound. A long, straight incision that went straight through the soft tissue between thumb and fingers. Right down through the muscle.
A knife wound that goes all the way down to the bone. Okay, now I'm going to try to show you on my hand. I have to switch hands here. See the meat? I'm going to draw on my hand. I can't do this because I need another hand. His gash goes all the way down through all of that meat, all the way down to the bone. And nobody noticed it before. And I've told you why scientists were blinded. How come they didn't see a wound in the hand? They weren't looking. He died in a blizzard. No, he didn't. Okay? This guy's been in a knife fight. Somebody came at Otzi with a knife. All right, I'm going to hit play and we're going to continue.
Aegerter was looking for answers. Now he had...
Fast forwarding. Okay? This makes it look, oh, those are all dead bodies. This guy, I'm going to rewind it. This guy works with dead bodies every day. He wears a coat at work every day because he's working in a refrigerated room so the bodies don't stink. Look at all these dead people he has in his office. He works at a morgue.
Begin to review all of the scientific results about the Iceman in a completely new light.
Before anything else, Aegerter will have to take a sample from the hand.
That's right out of the cut. They took a sample. Look at all the dead bodies.
Edwin Aegerter has been investigating suspicious deaths for the past 30 years. As chief medical examiner of the city...
These be people who died of murder, car wrecks, mountain climbing, ski accidents, all kinds of stuff. Okay, there's the parts of somebody else. They found some body parts. Okay, remember there's lots of dead people up in the mountains. Okay, all right. Next, fast forwarding. Okay, here's the knife. All right, now remember yesterday's video when I told you to remember Harm Paulson. He was the guy that was making the copies of Otzi's arrows. He's now going to tell you how to win a knife fight.
Experimental archaeologist Harm Paulson is an expert in Stone Age weaponry.
His knife is a little bit smaller at the handle, but it's the same length around. But okay, it's not really a knife to kill people. And he will not do it in that way. When he wants to push the dagger in other people's body, then it's the best not to do it like that. The handle is very, very short. They do it like that, in that way, and they push it in.
Look at all the bodies. Look at all the bodies.
But it's one thing to have a theory, another to prove it. In his work, Aegerter is used to applying the standards of definitive proof.
Fast forwarding. Now he's going to try. He's looking at modern knife wounds in people's hands. It's a defensive wound. When somebody comes at you with a knife, you throw your hands up. Now he brings in a DNA expert. This is so cool. They're looking for human blood on Otzi's arrows. Human blood, not animal blood.
Under the nervous eyes of the museum director, the artifacts are brought out from their glass case for the first time in half a decade.
But we look.
Notice only two have arrowheads on them.
I'm going to take samples from behind this small shoulder.
Loy focuses in on the arrow shafts. He tested them 12 years ago, but not for human blood. He isn't positive what he'll find.
Wow, this is just covered in blood. And it's sticking down all the fibers.
So shiny. It's
very reflective. It's very thick.
gorgeous.
Blood cells. Dozens of them, 50 centuries old. Wow. Again
There's
and again,
human blood on these arrows.
In the center. I'll try
And spoiler alert, it's not Otzi's blood.
3, 4, 5 red blood cells, so we've got blood on here.
It's a remarkable discovery.
He's going to get DNA out of those blood cells.
Of Stone Age combat. But whose blood is this? And what exactly does it mean?
I'm going to change another tip.
Loy will have findings within weeks.
Okay.
All right, moving right along. We have so much more to get to in this murder. Hunt for a killer. All right. Now, they talk about the body and where it was found in this low spot. Okay? These people, this guy with the wild hairdo.
The individual was very, very valuable for the period.
This is the first guy talking, is the first guy to ever climb Mount Everest solo. And he did it without oxygen. The guy is a mountain climbing legend. Okay? They fly him up here and ask him, why would Otzi be here? And his opinion is he was trying to get away from somebody because the spot where they found the body can only be gotten to by a difficult climb, and you can see somebody coming up after you. He thinks Otzi was being followed and maybe knew it. Okay? So here's person portraying Otzi. Fast forwarding, because we got to get to better stuff. Okay? And the expert mountain climber says, Otzi didn't get here by accident. He's here on purpose. Okay? All right, here we are at the Iceman Museum looking through the cooler. Here he is with an arrow stuck in his back. Pause. All right, I'm back. They're looking at the body.
It bears darkened traces.
He's got bruises all over him. He's got blood on him.
The battle scenario seems to take on extra weight. But these samples too must be tested to verify that all the wounds actually happened while the Iceman was alive. To find out, Egerton brings in Dr. Andreas Nerlich, an expert in ancient DNA. Inside the labs of the Bolzano Hospital, Nerlich examines the tissue and begins what is known as the blue pigment.
This is super cool, super important.
Whenever a wound occurs, deep inside the damaged flesh, the healing process starts. Tiny cells, known as macrophages, start to eat up the blood. And the hemoglobin is converted to hemosiderin, a blue pigment. And that's exactly what they find.
This bleeding has occurred during lifetime. What we also can say is that at least 2 to 3 days have occurred between the cut and the death of the individual.
Egerton and Nerlich now have definitive evidence that the knife wound happened before Otzi died.
All right, we have some stuff to write down, some clues to this mystery. All right, here we go. Ready? First thing. 10 years after discovery, knife wound found in right hand. It was holding the knife. Okay, this is the cool part. That cut has 2 to 3 days worth of healing in it. Otzi was in a knife fight 2 to 3 days before he was killed. The healing stops the moment you die. Okay? It's like a clock. We now know he was in a knife fight 2 days before he died. Okay? The knife cut has 2 to 3 days worth of healing. Did you catch on the video that it turned blue? Okay. Think about the last time you had a bruise. You know how it changes colors? That blue under your skin looks purple. Okay? When you get a bruise, that's where your body had a leak in one of the blood vessels, and the blood squirted out and is just stuck there. And the blood cells die, and then your body comes and cleans it up, breaks it down. And each of the chemical changes a different color. You know how your bruise will be a different color? Like it'll be a red and then a purple and then maybe that icky greenish yellow, and then it goes away. That's the different chemicals in your blood cells as your body cleans up the mess. Okay? Here's the next clue. Otzi is covered in bruises. You don't bruise when you're dead because your blood isn't pumping anymore. Okay? Otzi is covered in bruises. He's been in a fight or fights. He's been in a fight. All right. There's human blood on his arrows. It's not his blood. There's human blood on his arrows and clothes. And it's not his. There's human blood on his arrows and clothes. Not his blood. They can do that with DNA. Doesn't this sound violent? All right, next. Hitting play.
I believe now that that's finally the ultimate proof that the wound in the right hand happened during his life.
And not just the right hand wound, also the right arm, and the bruises on the back. They all occurred while Otzi was alive.
They still haven't talked about the arrow in his back.
There's no question.
That's still coming.
He was in a fight, battered and cut, wounded at one time, dying 48 hours later, just as the escape theories proposed. Otzi's last battle has gone from conjecture to fact. Now, Agatha just has to find out how Otzi was killed and who's responsible.
Here comes a commercial.
He came from a violent time, a time of clashes,
Fast forwarding.
conflicts, and
Okay, there's a fight here. Okay.
the first arms race.
I don't even know which one's Otzi, but I'm cheering for Otzi. Kick his butt, Otzi! Come on!
From all sorts of
We don't know if Otzi was a good guy or a bad guy.
Agatha is starting to learn.
All right, there's the hole in his back. They just showed it.
The medical examiner has known for a while. The arrow in the back. It
There.
killed Otzi
Right through his shoulder blade.
immediately. Stopping short of the heart.
There's the arrowhead.
It severed a key artery and led to a slow demise by bleeding. 48 hours after the fatal shot. This then is the murder weapon. Inches long, a flint arrowhead, a wooden shaft, triple plumed with feathers for rotation and stability, tapered for maximum power at the tip.
All right, I love this part of the video so much.
He knows the cause of death. What he hasn't yet figured out is the manner, precisely how.
The guy at the bow is Harm Paulson.
In a valley not far from where Otzi was found, Agatha has joined archaeologist Harm Paulson, Anna Pedrotti, and Vittorio Brizzi at an archery site for some experimental archaeology. They are trying to reconstruct Otzi's shooting with exact replicas of the bow and arrow that took his life.
Oh yeah, great.
Paulson marks off the shaft to calibrate the depth of penetration. Otzi's arrow sank 3 centimeters, just over an inch, inside his back. This experiment will help them figure out exactly how far the killer was standing when he took his lethal shot.
All right, here comes a dead pig. It looks just like a human.
Standing in for Otzi, a side of pork.
Yeah, that's right. More so that maybe this part here. this part. That's okay.
That looks like a human's shoulder and back.
What's the schedule? For precision, it's covered in a goatskin cloak. Not so different from the one the Iceman wore.
Here, maybe it's hanging.
All right, I'm gonna mute it. If you've ever shot a bow and arrow, you know that the first shot is the hardest because you don't know how much to elevate for your distance. He's gonna miss the first time and he hardly ever misses after that, okay? The whole point of this is to see how far away the shot would be for the arrow to not go in very far. Because the guy who shot Otzi was a good shot, but the shot was a little bit too far. So the arrow did not go all the way through Otzi, but it still killed him. Okay, this first shot went in and they were too close. So they know the shot was farther away. Okay, they're gonna repeat it until they get the arrow to only go in 3 centimeters, which is about 3 centimeters would be about that much. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna fast forward. They do it, and they come up with a range of, I don't forget how many meters. Let me hit play.
Traded and the arrow point in and out on the other
The arrowhead stayed in. It stuck in. It came off the arrow, just like in Otzi.
The same like we have it at Otzi's, in Otzi's back.
The verdict. With a 24-inch arrow and a 50-pound draw weight, the calculus of death yields just one answer. The lethal blow came from 30 yards away.
About 30 yards. All right.
What kind of shot was it?
It's an excellent shot. Okay, no, I shouldn't have fast forwarded. Okay, now, here's an important thing. This was not a hunting accident. Okay? It was not a hunting accident. I'm at 22 minutes already. Here's how we know it wasn't a hunting accident. It's a war arrow. Humans have developed different kinds of arrowheads for different purposes. If you're shooting a deer for supper, you want to have a reusable arrowhead that's well attached to your arrow. If you're going to try to kill your enemy, you don't necessarily try to get the arrow back. Okay? So war arrows have a different shape. Now, she's got an arrowhead to show that's really cool. Okay? She's got different arrowheads. She's got some that match the one in Otzi's back, and they're war arrows. They're not hunting arrows. Okay? Now, she's going to show you a neck vertebrae from somebody else they found who was shot in the neck and killed. Okay? She's talking about the different shapes. That's a hunting arrowhead there, I think. All right. Come on, lady. Okay. Those are different styles, different weights. Okay. The one there, that's the kind that matches the one at Otzi's back. A war arrow. This is not somebody accidentally shooting Otzi thinking he was a deer.
Pedrotti can show just how it was used. A remarkable fossil.
That's somebody's neck vertebrae.
Buried deep in human neck bone.
That person had a really bad day.
This is the vertebra of a man.
All right, fast forwarding. Let me see what else we got. Okay. They reconstruct the angle and the distance. The person was below Otzi, about 30 yards back. And there's the arrowhead that went in. They're finding out that's a hard shot to do, especially uphill in the wind. They know the person who did the shooting was a good shot. Okay? Now, they're matching the arrowhead. Here we are talking about which side of the mountains he lived on. He lived on the south side of the Alps. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up soon. Okay, so here's your notes for the day. Notice you don't have very many today. Okay, there's human blood on his arrows. Okay? Otzi was killed by an expert archer about 30 yards away, about 30-yard shot. Right at the heart, but it didn't go in enough. Right at the heart. Okay. At the part of the video we're not going to get to, there's 4 to 5 different people's blood on Otzi's arrows and coat. And they're not his, it's not his blood. So here's the scenario I like to think of. I don't know if you've ever watched any movies like Lord of the Rings or any of that stuff where there's archery battles where people are shooting bows and arrows at each, where they're shooting arrows at each other. Do you know what you do when you run out of arrows? You don't surrender. You start picking up arrows on the ground or pulling them out of your dead friends and shooting those arrows back. Okay? Wonder why Otzi's got a whole bunch of arrows that don't have arrowheads in them. How about a battle where the arrowheads got stuck in the people and he's pulled them out of dead friends and enemies and he's going to make some more arrowheads for them? That makes more sense to me. Okay? It sounds like there's been a lot of fighting going on, in my opinion. He's got somebody's blood on his clothes. He's either carried a hurt or wounded friend, or he's been in close hand-to-hand combat with somebody else, and their blood got on his clothes. Okay? That is violent. Is there anything else? Okay? I'm going to end it there. That's 26 minutes.